Hello everyone, in this video tutorial I'm going to solve or create a solution for assignment number 1 for one of the courses come 12:30. We go through the description and try to build it together. So let's go ahead and read the assignment description. Declare three variables, store your first name, last name, student ID respectively. Okay, let's do that first. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and create the PHP structure. I always put the variable at the beginning of the file to make managing them later on easier. So I need to have first name, right? John, last name, Doe, and then I have student ID. That's the requirement, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put a student ID here as well. Just go ahead and do this. Now, the second part of the assignment says, let me see what it says. It says, print a header 1 element to display the content of the variable, all these three variables that I have created. So let's do that. I'm going to go inside the body. There are a few ways of doing this. I can go ahead, open the h1 tag, and write the echo PHP in between, or I can print the whole h1 tag with the content that I want to. So in this case, I just go ahead and put them all like this, and then I start my PHP code. I'm going to use the short tag instead of going saying PHP echo. I just go ahead and put question mark, less than sign, question mark, equal, and then I'll go ahead and print the variables. I'm going to leave some space between them to make our life easier to read, right? And of course, I will have the student ID at the end. Okay, semicolon. So I always try to check my work. Let's see what did I do here wrong. Let me sure I save this. Let me just do this, please. Echo. So that's not a problem because sometimes the short tag is not enabled from PHP INI. I see something is wrong here, but I cannot. Oh, okay. This is it. I did not close the PHP tag, right? So I'll close the PHP tag. H1 is there. Let's go ahead, open the browser. My XAMPP is running already, and I'm creating this code inside the XAMPP folder. So I'll go localhost, comp 1230, right? AS1. Is it AS1? What did I call it here? Let me see. Yeah, is it AS1? Let me just check this. File AS1. Here it is. Okay. So I have the f1.php right here. So I have printed those three variables. That's done. Okay. Let's go read the next one. Create an associative array containing the list of courses you're taking or have taken in the past, at least 6 of them. The course code is like come to F30 and should be used as the key in associative array, and description of the course, in this case, is advanced web programming, used as its value. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. We all know how to create an associative array. Again, I'm creating this at the top. So I'll call it courses equal, I open my array, close, semicolon at the end. Here it is. So I'm going to go ahead and say comp 1223. I'm going to go ahead and say course 1. I just don't put the full description for now, but you can simply find the full description if you want to, right? Then I go and say course 2. And I also, let me just go ahead and do this. Okay. So I have 32, 33, 34, right? Let me just make this one 30 as well. So it makes more sense to have in sequence. It's not necessary. I'm just making up some course name. 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? So I've done that. That's okay. Let's go back to the course, to the assignment description. So your page should contain a form with the following fields. 3 text boxes, first name, last name, and ID, which would be default value, pre-populated with the value stored in the first, last name, and a student ID variable. Okay, that's not hard. So I'm going to go right after this line. I just go ahead and create my form. Okay, now I need 3 text boxes. So I need 3 input type text, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do this. So our first one should be first name. I'm going to call it F name. Doesn't really matter what you're calling it. It matters in a case that you want to make it clear, you want to make it understanding for the other colleagues or yourself to look at the code and understand what is this field that you're reading. As long as you know this is the field name in your PHP script, you can access it through post or get, it will work. So I'm going to call the next one L name, and the last one, of course, STID. Okay, so I have to pre-populate these values. So what I'm going to do is I don't need the ID at this moment. So I'm going to go ahead and again use the short tag here, and I will say first name, right? And I'm going to copy this to just make my life a bit easier. So I'm going to paste it 2 more times, and here I have the last name. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm getting the value of the variable, right, that I stored on the top of the page to be printed as a value of these text boxes. Okay, let's go to the page and see the form. Here you go. I have all those data fields up to date, right? If I do any changes here, like for instance, if I go and say blah, right, John Blah, and then you can simply see John Blah is there, right? And everything is changed. Perfect. Let's go to the assignment and read the next line. It says a list input that refers to a data list. Okay, so we need a data list element that contains predefined course as an option. Use the key of your associative array to dynamically populate the value of the option in the list rather than hard coding the value. So let's say I assume I do not remember data list. So I'm going to come over here. I go to this. Okay. Oh, okay. This is it. So I'm going to go copy the exact same thing. Go back to my form. So here I have browser. I'm going to change this one. Whenever I see this, I simply change it to the courses, right? So I go here and I would just change this, sorry, courses, right? Courses. Courses is course. I don't need the ID that way, right? Courses, and then finally courses here too. Okay, so I've done that. Let's see if everything works up to this point. I'm going to go back to the browser, refresh this, and as you can see, all the values are there, right? So I'm going to go ahead and change this. I have to load these dynamically. So for that reason, I need a loop. I'm going to remove all the other options because if you look at it, all the options are the same format, only the value changes. So right in here, since I want to create these dynamically, I'll go ahead and open close the PHP tag for each loop, right? And what do I need to print here? I need to print the associative array that I have here. Okay, let's do that. So I'll go here, courses as course name, right? Course description. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, what do I need here? I just need the course name. So I'm going to go ahead and say course name right in here. All right, let me just make this one single quote so I can simply put the whole thing into a double quote for myself. And right in here, I would just go ahead, echo, and put the whole statement inside the double quote and a semicolon. Does that even make sense? Now that I have this, let's see if this works. I don't need the curly bracket, but usually I do to just organize myself. Let's see what is the error here. I have to close the PHP tag, right? Here you go. So I have the for each loop, goes through the courses, separate the course name, which is the key, and the course description, which is the value, and then it populates the list for me. So if I go back to the list and I just do this, I can simply see I can have all those courses. No, I don't have all those courses. What the heck is happening? Let me just check something. I just go to the thing, undefined variable course name. I don't have such a thing. Oh, okay, misspelled. Sorry about that. Course name, right? So as you can see, I can see the value there too. Let's go refresh. I can see all the course name, meaning if I go back here, I should be able to see all these courses. Don't worry about the last three. These were saved by Chrome before. So these are the courses that we have and all the values are there, right? So we have done that. I'm going to go ahead and put in HR right after this to just make our life a bit easier to view these things. I did it before. I don't know why it's gone. So here is all the lists are there. Let's go back to the assignment. Okay, let me close all this and go back to the assignment. Let's see what is the next we have to do. So here I have created the data list. I have populated everything. 3 checkboxes. Option is strong, underline, and uppercase. Okay, let's see what it is. So I'll go back to the code. I have to create 3 checkboxes, right? So I'm going to put this one as a comment. I can't remember what the heck I have to do. Since I'm inside this, I'm inside the form still, I have to create this. So I'll go ahead and say input, checkbox, and I need 3 of them, right? Okay. Now, there are a few ways of doing this. This checkbox, individual checkbox, represents a kind of a style, a strong, underline, and uppercase. I can give the same name to all of them and make them an array by having like something like this. I can go ahead and say style and then put the curly bracket or a square bracket around them. When it is submitted to the destination, it becomes an array. I can loop through them, and I have to remember the first one is strong, second one is underline, and the last one is uppercase. So the other way is to just go and say style 1, style 2, style 3, right? And of course, for this, I just have to put the value strong, value, underline, and finally value uppercase, right? Okay. Now, I'm done with this. Let me go ahead and just do the HR here one more time. Go back to the browser. Let's look at how it looks. 3 checkboxes with the option blah. Of course, this is an HTML. That's why it's not working, right? So if I want to do an HTML, I just have to go ahead and put HTML comment so I can see it later on. The other thing I have to fix here is this one. Choose your course code, right? So to make it better, I have everything ready here. I have all the values that I needed. The checkboxes are okay. Let's just check one more time to make sure I have everything I need. Okay, I just need a label, right? Of course, you've got to use label. It's going to be better. But for now, just to make it easier for us to continue with the code, let's go ahead and put it right in front of each of these fields, right? So I'm going to go ahead and say this is it. And then finally, I have uppercase. Uppercase. Okay. Right. Go. We're good to go. Let me just make this one a bit. I know it looks better. You always have to make sure that what you show people are in their good shape or good style. So I have a strong, underline, and uppercase. That's done. Let's go through the assignment and see what is the other requirement they wanted. Radio button representing different font size. So we need that as well. Let's go ahead and do this. I go back to my code, drop right here. I'm going to put this one in comments so I can remember what to do, right? So I need 3 radio buttons. That's easy. I just go ahead, input, type, colon, array, do, and I need 3 of them, right? So for the radio button, it has to be a group, right? So this is a font size. So I'm going to go ahead. You can name it differently. You can do it underscore size, or you can just do it something like that, font size, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put font size name for all 3 because only one should be selected. And then for the value, I just define the value. So here I would be 12 point. It's going to be 18 point, right? And it's going to be 24 point. Okay. Let me just go ahead, put another HR here, go back to my code. You got to view everything that you have to make sure everything works. Oh, this cookie, what did I do that it says cookie? Type this. Okay, so I need the label here, right? So I'm going to go ahead again. Proper labeling in HTML is going to be better because then you can style it, you can make it more accessible, right? So you always try to use a proper structure. So I'm going to come over here, I make this one 18, and finally the last one is 24. So let's go ahead and check one more time. Everything looks okay, 12, 18, 24. Go back to the assignment, a submit button. Okay, and same page using, it has to be submitted data, same page using post method. So what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to fix the post, the form. So I don't need the action because it has to be submitted to the same page. So I just go here and say method is equal post. Okay, now I need a submit button, and this is what I want to show you. If I go here and say submit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a name to the submit button, right? Name is equal submit. The reason for that is if you name an input box and then when the page is submitted, you can look for the name submit and that tells you the form has been submitted, right? So that's a trick that you have to use. Okay, so let me go ahead and try that and I'm going to show you how it works. So right at the end of the form, I go ahead and do this. I would say if is set, remember is post method, right? Post submit. This means the form has been submitted. Echo form is submitted. Okay, let's check that. Let's see if that works. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, refresh the page. The submit button is there, and I just select. Right? You see that form is submitted. So that way I know the form has been submitted, and I can do the rest right after this line. So let me go back to the sum and see what it says. When the form is submitted, content of the first, last name, and student ID should be displayed in the H2 element in uppercase. Okay, let's do this part first. So right after this, inside this statement, that is where I have to have my H2 tag, right? So I'm going to go ahead as H2, right? And I'm going to close the H2 tag in here, okay? Now I have to start putting the first name and last name and so on. I'm not going to put the variable name that I declare at the beginning of the variable. I'm going to use the first name and last name that is passed from the form, right? That way, if they change the field value, you will get up-to-date value as well. Keep in mind, you have to do all the validation. You have to make sure the field is there before getting these value. I'm assuming the value are coming to the form, so I'm not putting too much emphasis on validation in here. But you should make sure it's set, it has a value, and so on, right? So for me, I'll go ahead and say post, give me the F name. Remember, I'll call it F name. Of course, I'll put some value, some space in between, okay? Then I'll go again, post, I'll do L name, right? I close this, put some space, and finally I do post, and what was left? Student ID or ST ID, right? Okay. So I think this is good enough. Let me just put the semicolon at the end, see if everything works here. So if I go ahead and submit this page right now, I should be able to see first name, last name, and a student ID there. Now the assignment says it has to be two uppercase, right? Let's go do that. PHP uppercase, right? Let's see what is the function. str to upper is the function we can use to make a string uppercase. I'm going to use that for now, but I'll show you another way of doing this. So what I'm going to do is this part of the string, whatever is the first name, last name, and so on, has to be two upper before they open and close the H2 tag. I'm going to drop everything in there, right? And I go back to the browser. Let's close this and refresh this. Here goes, everything uppercase. Keep in mind that you could simply do this with the CSS too. In the head section of this document, if you define an ID or class, like for instance, you would say style, and you would say dot upper, and here you would simply add text decoration uppercase, and then you would apply that class to the H2 tag. That's another way of doing it. Like it depends how is that you want to do it. Okay, so keep that in mind. Let's go read the assignment again, see what is the next thing we have to do. The course description for the selected course should be displayed in the div element, applying the necessary CSS using the information provided by the user via the checkbox and radio button. Okay, let's go do that. So what I need right after this, I need a div tag. Okay, I'm going to do that. That's not a problem. Remember, I can always close the PHP and open it again and go back to HTML. I can do something like that too, right? If you need to, just keep that in mind. But for this case, I don't need that. I just go ahead with the echo. I open the div tag, okay, and I close the div tag. I'll put a semicolon right at the end. Okay. Let me actually put this one double quote so I can write everything in there. It's going to be a bit easier, right? Now, what do I need? I need to get the name of the course, right? There's so many things you have to do. You can just make sure if the course code that you get is available in this array. So you can see in array, right? So if you say in array, then you get the keys of the associative array and pass the value received from the parameter. If it returns true, it means it's there. But now we just assume is there. Okay. So I'll go ahead and say course description is equal. I'll go do this. I'll go say post. Remember I called it course. So this one gives me the course code, but I want to get the description. And do you remember the associative array we create that holds all of this? It's called courses. So if I pass this key, which comes from the form, to the associative array that I have declared in this page, here you go, it should actually give me the course description, right? So in this case, I just need to go and print the course description here. Okay, let's see if that works, and then we continue with the rest. So if I go ahead and select the course, come to F30, submit this, undefined course. Okay, it says course is not there. Let's go back and check what we have done here. Course is there, right? Oh, misspelled, sorry. There you go. So one more time. So if I refresh, then I can say, I can get the next one. Then I refresh again and submit another one, course 2, right? And I go to the very last one, submit, I get course 5. So everything is done. I just have to go and apply these styles that is passed via the form, like the checkbox and the ready button and so on. So this time I'm going to do that. So I'll go back here into this style and I start creating an ID. I'll call it div style or course info, whichever you want. Let's call it course info. Course info. Okay. Now, right in here, I have to check if the parameters are coming to this page. I just simply have to create this related CSS. So I'm going to go ahead and open the PHP here, right in here, inside the CSS. Remember, you can embed PHP anywhere, right? So I'll say if is set post, what was the name of the radio button or checkbox? Is style 1, right? If style 1 is set, okay, what do I have to do with this? I have to go ahead and specify the font size. Is that correct? Or font weight. Let me just check. So let's say I don't remember CSS strong, right? So if I come over here, I can see the font weight is bold. I can use, I can go up to 900, right? That depends. So I'm going to go here and I say echo. Let me put this one in here. Bold. Does that even make sense? So if the style 1 is selected, I will add the font weight bold to the course info ID. So let's do that for the rest of them. I think you got the idea. So let me put the semicolon here. Copy the whole thing. I need this 3 times. Okay, so I just go for the second time. And for a style 2, what do I need for a style 2? It has to be underlined. Okay, I don't remember underline. Remember, you have to know such a thing exists to be able to do a search. So I'll go here. I can see text decoration underline can be used to add an underline to the style. So just go ahead and drop that one here. Okay, now I need another one. Right? So I check. Just clear this. So style 3 was, I believe, was uppercase, wasn't it? Okay. Uppercase. There you go. So I have created the ID. The only thing I have to do is I can go here to the div tag and say ID is equal course info. You think it's going to work? Let's try. So I'm going to go back to this. Remember this part? Okay. Continue. None of them is selected. Underline, uppercase, and a strong, right? And I'm going to make it 24. Line 68. Let me see what is missing. Line 68. Oh, I didn't select the course, right? So let's select the course. Select all this, right? And put 24. Here you go. So I didn't put the font yet, but as soon as I put, you will see it. So I'm going to do only uppercase, right? Let's see. I keep forgetting the course. Sorry about that. So I'm going to put the uppercase, install. Okay. One more time. 1230, uppercase, and go. Let's see what is wrong with this. It doesn't work the way it should. Okay, let me just go to the source. So I have text decoration uppercase, and then I have the course info there too. Where is the div tag? Oh, it's right there. Let me just check something here. If I come over here, check this. Something is overriding this. What is it? Let me see. CSS, uppercase. Okay. So I'm going to come over here. Text transform. That's the reason. You see? This text transform we call uppercase. That's why it doesn't work. Okay. So let's go ahead there. Put this one in. Save this. Go back to the page. Refresh. You see the uppercase? Let's do strong. Select the course. Right? Do you see that? So everything works at this point. I'm done with that. Let me go ahead and do the font size as well. So for the font, I need to do this as well. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to do this differently. So I'm going to go ahead and say echo, okay, font size, colon, okay, and I do this. I'll go I would do this. I would do this. Look at this. Post. What do they call it? I'll call it font size, right? Yeah, let's get this one in. Font size. And I'm going to use terminated operator, but for PHP 7. Here you go. If such thing exists, use, otherwise put 12 pt. Okay, so the default is 12 pt. And that's it. So that way, I'm saying if the font size exists, is set, is not null, use it. Otherwise, use 12 pt. So let's see if that works. Let me go back to the page, refresh this. Okay, I'm going to select the course 1231, strong underline uppercase 24. Here you go. Let's check the CSS. See all of them? Font weight bold, text decoration underline, text as for uppercase, and font size is on. Oh, something is wrong, right? Let's go back to our code and fix that. When we created the radio button, we forgot to change this to value, right? So since it doesn't have a value, if you select it, it's going to send on, right? Let's try it one more time. So if I go back here, refresh this page, and select the course, uppercase, underline, strong 24, right? Here you go. Let's check the code. See, everything is added and the CSS dynamically has been generated. Let's go back to the assignment, make sure we have done everything we needed. Your page should also contain a link, passes a parameter to another page via URL, a second page, name as your name.php. Parameter passed to the second page should contain your variable name and values as a key and value pairs. First name, last name, and a student ID, and color with the value of your choice to be used as a background color. On the second page, you should display the key value pairs pass as parameter in an H2 element, as well as setting the background color pass via parameter. Try to use light color and blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create another page. I'll call it f2.php. Okay, so in order to be able to print these values, remember we have done this. Let me show you this for each loop here. Right? I'm going to use the same thing. So whatever parameter you pass here, I want to go ahead and create a string for my link. Okay, let me show you that. I'm going to go ahead and create a variable. I'll call it URL. I initialize it with this. Now here, instead of courses, I would say, okay, you know what? Give me the post super variable, right? Super global variable. Post as, I'll call it key, and I'll call it as value. Now here, I just simply have to go and say key equal value, and remember I need an ampersand at the end, right? I'm creating the parameter. That's what I'm trying to do. So it says I have to put a color there too. So I'm going to go ahead and say, oh, sorry, I should not say URL. I got to say URL.equal. So I'm appending to the end of the variable URL. Right outside the loop, I'm going to add the color. Okay. So I say color equal, let's say yellow. Okay. So I've created all the parameters. Now I'm just going to go ahead and create the URL. So I'll go ahead, href equal p2.php question mark URL. That's all you have to do. Go to, go to page 2. Hope that makes sense. Okay, let's see if that works. So I refresh the page. It's going to come over here. So if I pass this, look at the URL. All the parameters are passed, right? p2.php, didn't I create that page? I did create it. Yeah, p2.php. Let me just make sure. p2.php. Here. Give me a second, guys. p2.php. Where did I save this file? Hello. Let me just go to the folder, see what do I have here. If I have saved it, yeah, I have it there. F2, I call it P2. I'm sorry for my mistake. So go back to F1 is F2.php. Okay, so I'll go back to the page. Let me just go ahead and refresh, collect all the data, generate the link, submit the link, right? Now, look at it. All the parameters are appended to the end of the URL. What do I have to do? Same thing I done here. I'm going to copy this, go to page 2, drop it right in here. Of course, I have to open the PHP tag. Okay, so I have the post, key, and value. Instead of @ sign, I put the BR here, so we can go to the next page. Okay, something is not right, because when you send the parameters through the URL, you cannot use post. You have to use get, of course. Here you go. Undefined variable URL. This is on page 2. Definitely, because we don't have that variable, guys. That's the problem with the copy paste, right? So we're going to watch what we do. Here you go. I'll go all the parameters pass to this page and print them one by one. Now, what I have to pass, I have to go ahead and change the background color. That was one of the requirements. So I'm going to put this one all in the body of the page. Now, how do you do that? Can you tell me? How do you apply the background color? Of course, you can go ahead and create a style, dynamic style, right? Just go ahead and say body. So you say background color, colon. You open your PHP or you do this, right? You will say get color. If the color exists, use the color. Otherwise, use white. How's that? Well, let's make it blue so we know this is working, right? And of course, I'm going to close this and put the semicolon for the CSS. Okay, do you guys think it works? Let's check. Yeah, it does. If I don't pass this, makes it blue, right? Or I can change this one to anything I need. Okay, so let's check the assignment, see if anything is left. Okay, you just have to ensure all submit data are filtered and sanitized and would display back to user as expected. That's all for the assignment. I hope you enjoyed the solution and let me know if you have any question. Have a great day.